Airplane. There we go.
It's perfect. Can't do that.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming for my talk. And last time at the end for any questions, but if there's anything that you think, like me, I have a problem with that, don't ask the question now, it's gone. So if you really think you need to ask it now, just put your hand up and I'll try and include it. But if you can keep the questions till the end, that would be great. Miles, come in close, I can't speak very loudly, my love. Right. My talk's called Blood on Their Hands, and I don't know how much you will know about how much this government has been doing to actually kill off disabled people, poor people, homeless people in this country. And the neoliberal agenda didn't just start with the Tories when they came to power in 2010. They escalated that agenda in 2010. Excuse me, one second, I need to take this off. Tita, can you help me to take it off, please? Sorry about that. So, in 2010, aided and abetted by the Liberal Dems, the Tories came into power, and when they came into power, they started an agenda of cuts and austerity and sanctions and attacks, attacking disabled people initially. And in response to that, DPAC was formed, Disabled People Against Cuts. And at the center of the logo, the DPAC, is the black triangle. The black triangle that the Nazis used to label disabled people. The Nazis used a set of triangles, various colors for various groups of people that they wanted to target. And the first group was disabled people. The gas chambers that they used, and the windows they used, were first used on disabled people. The experimentation, the killing, started with disabled people. And it felt so much like what was happening in Nazi times that DPAC was formed and that black triangle was chosen as the central part of the logo. And people didn't really believe that the government would do something like it, and it was always a taboo, and you can't refer to Nazi Germany. Yeah. But DPAC was formed, and there's another group called the Black Triangle Against the definition of disabled people. And that was 2010. In 2011, the government was given a Freedom of Information request. Under that request, they were asked how many people had died as a result of their policies. And not just as wide as that, because then they might not respond. They were given one aspect of their cuts. Just the fit to work tests. Just the fit to work tests. They were asked under the fit to work tests, how many people have you decided are fit to work and been left without their disability benefits? How many people have died as a result? Not how many people have died in the whole time you've been in power, just within 6 weeks of that decision. Not 6 weeks in a day, not 6 months, not the time you've been in power. How many people have died within 6 weeks of that decision? And they came back with the figure He gave us the figure for 10 months of imprisonment, so not even a whole year. And that figure shocked the life out of me. That figure was 10,600. That figure is seared into my brain. 10,600. Now, when the government is admitting their policies, one aspect of their policy is resulting in 10,600 deaths. When the government has admitted it under the freedom of information request, every media source, the BBC, the Telegraph, the Times, the Guardian, every single entity would have access to that response. Not one of them printed it. Not one of them printed it. Not one of them said a word about it. 10,600. When the government is admitting that their policies are resulting in death, when the government is admitting that it's resulting in 10,600, that means that's over 1,000 every single month. When the government is admitting that and there's not a word in the media, we have a huge problem. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually see. I can't see anything. There you are. Oh, hello. Okay. So when I realized that, I was shocked. Here's the government admitting our policies are killing. Here's the government admitting that over 1,000 a month are being killed. And no one's saying a word about it. I thought someone needs to say something. The truth needs to be told. People need to know the truth. And the hard questions came bouncing back at me. Aren't you something? Aren't you something? If someone needs to speak, you need to speak. If someone needs to tell the truth, you need to tell the truth, because now you know the truth. If you don't tell the truth, if you don't share that truth, you are part of the conspiracy of silence that has resulted in this and will result in even more deaths. And I was pushed out of my comfort zone. I'm not a natural speaker. I'm a really introvert, I'm really shy. I'm normally supported by the charities and the people and the speakers, but I was not the one who pushed myself forward to do these things. I get quite agoraphobic, even to get out of my room, to come out and speak, I have to push myself. I go back in to use the loo and I don't want to come back out again. I have to really push myself to come outside to speak. The first few times I spoke, I needed to have my friend Penny. Penny was the one who got me as well. She was like, what you know, you need to share. And so Penny got me speaking at Discovery Festival in the Speakers Forum. Got me speaking with me in the Speakers Forum. And the first few times she just sat beside me and held my hand. And I was shaking. And I didn't know anything apart from this one figure, really. And thought, we need to know, and we need to keep finding the truth. We need to keep sharing that truth, because that knowledge is our power to be that change, just change it and to stop them killing us. They say ignorance is bliss, and it is. It's bliss for those who are doing what they're doing to us and to our planet. Our ignorance is their bliss. Our knowledge is our power to change, to be that change, to be loving action, to stop the killing, not just of us humans, of all the other species on our planet. It's all interconnected. I'm an artist. I make things to try and help people understand what I see things. And so I made this to take to COP26 to say that we can't have climate justice without social justice. We can't stand up for human rights for one section of people or believe disabled people to be murdered and killed. And it's all interconnected. Like the Nazis, they started with disabled people. And we said they will come for the rest of you. They will come for the rest of us. And nobody really paid heed until the cost of living crisis suddenly started hitting millions of people who weren't disabled, who weren't already impoverished, who weren't already on benefits. Suddenly it was pushing millions more people into needing to go into benefits. Suddenly the people that had been called benefits managers and shirkers and worthlessness and all that, suddenly we realized that the majority of people needing food banks were people in work. Not just those we thought of as the destitute, but actually people in work who needed food banks. The majority of people claiming universal credit are people in work. Yeah. Suddenly it wasn't just disabled people, it was everyone, all of us. And suddenly that truth started hitting home. But it's still not hit home hard enough. There's still a narrative of workers and shirkers, the worthy poor and the unworthy poor, the real disabled and those who are just faking it. It's a lifestyle choice. Believe me, no one chooses to be disabled, no one chooses to be destitute, no one chooses to have to go to a food bank, to depend on charity, to be denied our rights and to be pushed into needing charity, to fundraise. I've got my wheelchair through wheelchair services. Wheelchair services now are saying no when people need wheelchairs. They've been told to go and fundraise. Fundraise if you need to be able to mobilize, otherwise stay home. You're disabled. We don't want to see you. I've got 2 other installations out there. They both incorporate wheelchairs. Do please have a look at them. One of them has a nappy on the chair, on the wheelchair. You don't normally get asked to look into someone's nappy, but I'm asking you, please look into my nappy. Yeah. That nappy has a message in it. And like the traditional thing of when you're in trouble, send out a message in a bottle and hope it gets to someone who can help. I'm asking you to take some photos of the installations, of all the messages around the installations, send it out on your social media, do the hashtags, message in a nappy, send it out there, and use our latest hashtag, which is Disabled People Demand. Yeah, there was the launch of the campaign was on the 18th of July. Pick up the flyers. It's not that the action is finished. The action was the start of the campaign. The campaign is Disabled People Demand. You can add whatever message underneath it: justice, equality, access, independent living, accessible housing, inclusion, all the different things that we demand. So disabled people demand, and let's remind this new government, let's remind Keir Starmer that we exist, we will not be silenced, and we will not be silent, and we will not allow them to keep killing us. There's a brilliant book called The War on Disabled People. Please look it up, please get yourself a copy. Please ask your local library to get the copy so that more people can read it. It's called The War on Disabled People. It's by Aaron Clifford, one of Deepak's amazing people. And please share it. And together we can stop the war on disabled people. Can you buy it online? You can buy it online, yes. You can buy it online. You can buy it in most bookshops as well. And the war on disabled people has been escalating and being ramped up through the time of the Tories were in power, and is continuing to be escalated by Starmer and his government. So we have to hold Starmer to account too. Thankfully, within Labour, we have some phenomenal allies. We have people like Debbie Abrahams, who stood up in Parliament and she read out the names of several of the people who were killed as a result of the cuts and austerity. I'd like to hand out some of the cases over here, so you can just read out some of the individual cases, and if you're brave enough, if anyone of you would like to volunteer, to actually read out the cases, a couple of the cases that you would have. There's cases on the other side of it. If you can read, maybe read out one and pass it on to someone else who can read it out. This gentleman here, all the other cases I've got are of individual people who died because of starvation, they died because they didn't have enough money to keep their insulin. It's just the stories are horrendous. They're all individual people. On the gravestone, I've got huge figures, starting with the 10,600. Huge figures from the British Medical Journal, the IPPR, the Office of National Statistics, etc. But those were individual people who were affected by the cuts and died as a result of the cuts.
So can I just clarify, that number is since the Conservatives came into power?
Since the Tories came into power. So the first figure was the 10,600. And after that, there's been more and more. And I've just added them on.
So that's 14 years.
Yeah. So first gravestone I had just 10,600 and I've added and added and added there. But this gentleman stands out because the cuts didn't directly affect him in that he had money, he had a job, he had everything. But he was asked to implement those cuts, which went against his humanity, against his empathy, against everything he believed in, to the point where he could not bear having to implement those cuts, and he committed suicide. This reminds us that all the people in the DWP, all the people in the local authorities, all the social workers who are being told to cut care, who are being told instead of providing the care to help disabled people to go to the toilet, are telling those disabled people, we will provide you with incontinence pads and leave you for up to 12 hours at a time. To someone who's, whether you're incontinent already or whether you're continent, to leave someone in soiled nappies for up to 12 hours a day. Imagine the health risks, imagine the indignity, imagine the shame. Yeah, imagine if you put a child in nappies who didn't need nappies, force them to become incontinent again when you bothered to try to teach a child how to use a toilet. If you did that to a child, it would count as child abuse. If you did that, if you left a child for 12 hours at a time, denying them the right to use a toilet, they would count that as criminal abuse. They would put you in prison. They would take that child into care and give it up for adoption because you don't deserve to have a child in your care. But they think it's absolutely okay to do to adults in the name of cuts. And I put that in the inverted commas because the cuts, all the evidence shows that the cuts are costing not just our lives, they're costing NHS support, they're costing in so many ways. They're costing the community. When you cut care from a disabled person, when you cut their benefits, they can't go out to the shops. They can't go out to the things that they would normally support in the community. The whole community, the whole economy gets affected. They try to say that disabled people are a drain. Actually, disabled people are employers. They employ care support. Yeah. Disabled people help look after other disabled people. They provide care, unpaid care, which if they weren't provided would cost so much more. Disabled people, if you think of them as the center of a daisy, yeah, think of a disabled person at the center of a daisy. They've got social workers who are in employment because of them. They've got direct payments workers because of them, in employment because of them. The local shops and communities who get support because of them. Even the Department of Health and Social Security, Department of Health and Social Security that they renamed to be Department of Work and Pensions, which now want to rename to be the Department of Work. Stop pensions. We've already taken away your health and social security. Now we're just going to concentrate on newbie workers. And if there's no work available because AI has come in, because we can do away with the tills at supermarkets and at banks and whatever. Sorry, the job market has shrunk. You can't get a job. Well then you're useless eater, you're worthless, they equate the two together. So now let's bring in assisted suicide. Let's end your suffering, whether it's you're suffering because you're sick or disabled, or just impoverished and destitute. And if you think this government won't do that, just look at the number of people who are already dead as a result of their policies. And look across the water at countries like Canada, where in Canada, if you can't afford, because they're getting rid of our NHS, yeah. If you can't afford your health and treatment, as part of your treatment plan, they will offer you assisted suicide.
Is that in Canada?
This is eugenics. This is eugenics. In Canada, if you're homeless, if you can't afford your rent, you can't afford to eat, oh well, let's end your suffering. You don't have to worry about it. Just so we have to stop starve and this support for assisted suicide. So I'm going to have some of these flyers. As I said, this is the latest campaign, and on there is no assisted dying. These are some of the demands, but you can add whatever demand you want when you're sharing it online into your social media. But please, this is just the start of the campaign, and the campaign needs to be ongoing until we stop the assisted suicide, until we stop this government from killing disabled people. On my grave, I've got some huge figures. As I said, these are individual cases. The latest number actually is not on the grave. The latest figure is from UCL, and they've included not just disabled people, but impoverished people, destitute people, everyone who's died too early, what they call premature death. They've done a study into all the premature deaths, and the figure is over 1 million. Over 1 million, and that's from 2010 to 2019, so not even counting COVID. Not even counting COVID, there's over 1 million people who have premature deaths as a result of this government. And when I say this government, I mean the Tories and the current government, and the Lib Dems who supported the Tories as well. Yeah, the neoliberal agenda that they all are using. And would you mention Tika? together, we need to be news because that figure of over a million is not in the news. That first figure of 10,600 is not in the news. The British Medical Journal found 120,000 verifiable cases, all linked to health and social benefits. The IPPR did another study in 2019 and they found 130,000 additional deaths related to the cuts to preventable medicine. So all the preventative measures that could have saved lives, the funding cuts to those preventative measures resulted in 130,000 preventable deaths. When you're deliberately cutting funding for something that will save something from a stroke, from diabetes, from whatever was going to kill them, when you deliberately cut that, knowing that without it they will die, that is calculated murder. That is democide, that is eugenics. All those they see as worthless, all those they see as a drain on society, a drain on your relatives. Oh, do you feel like you're a burden? Well, here's assisted suicide. You don't need to be a burden. The war on disabled people has been mounted, and Deepak have been fighting back. We've taken this government to court again and again and again, and we have won again and again and again, because they are in the wrong and we are in the right. But Deepak is just a group of disabled people, myself included, who's standing up and speaking out. And we need our fellow disabled people, our carers, families, the wider community, are not yet disabled people to join us. And when I say not yet disabled people, I really mean it. Because they expect now that 1 in 2 of us will get cancer. And if you've got cancer and you need support, you can count on it. They won't be giving it to you. They will give you the hardest time possible to claim it while you've got cancer fighting it fight to survive. 1 in 4 of us is expected to get some kind of long-term disability. All of us, if they haven't killed us off earlier, will get old and get to pension age, and they're trying to move the pension to 75, while the life expectancy for us ordinary people, the poor and well, the lower and lower is dropping. The life expectancy for people who are homeless, the average age at death for a homeless person is 43 for a man, 41 for a woman. That's lower than some of the most impoverished countries in the world. Right here, we are killing, well not we, our government is killing those that they see as worthless. We have to remind them that worth is not about how much money we make, how much tax we pay. But if you want to concentrate on tax, the poorest people, all the studies show that the poorest people compared to their earnings are the highest taxpayers. And the highest earners, the richest people, zero. The majority of them are tax avoiding, registering themselves as living somewhere else, so they don't have to pay a penny over here. They're tax dodging by billions and trillions across the planet. While they tell us the lower you are in society and the lowest of the lowest disabled people and disabled children, no matter where you go in the world. In the indigenous communities, they have value for disabled people. They have value for their elders and the aged, and the wisdom they've gone over the years. Over here, we used to have respect for our elders. We used to have an understanding that through our life we gain wisdom, we share wisdom. Whereas now, there are privileges, less and less and less, and more options for happiness. So, if you wouldn't mind, would some of you read out some of the stories, please? Without listening?
Well, the bodies of Mark and Helen Mullins were found lying side by side at their rundown home in an apartment in an apparent suicide pact. Friends told how they had been forced to live hand to mouth, making a weekly 12-mile trip to a soup kitchen on foot after Mrs. Mullins' benefits were stopped 18 months ago, leaving them with £57 per week to live on. A mum of 3 died of a brain tumour just weeks after Atos told her that she should be looking for a job. Eleanor Tatton, 39, had never worked after being plagued by the tumour since she was 15. Despite telling Atos about her serious health problems, she was told to begin the process to find employment. A scan then showed Eleanor's tumour had returned, and this time it was terminal. She died in a hospice within weeks.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem.
Doctors gave Robert Barlow, 47, only 18 months to live, but his benefits were cut anyway. The university graduate gave up his role as a government scientist 9 years ago when he was diagnosed with severe cardiomyopathy, a failure of the heart muscle. By the end, the classically trained pianist could not walk, struggled to read due to poor eyesight, and often fell over, smashing his teeth on one occasion. Doctors eventually gave Mr. Barlow a year and a half to live and recommended a heart transplant as he spent his final months in and out of hospital. But Atos dismissed his 5 fatal ailments, axed his crucial state payments, and ordered him back to work.
Fit to work. You're fit. You're dying, but
You're dying, but go to work. Edward Jakes overdosed on a cocktail of drugs after he had his benefits stopped. He had a history of self-harm and depression, which stemmed from physical and emotional abuse as a child. At his inquest, which lasted 2 days, the court heard that Mr. Jakes' medical assessment took just 23 minutes, and his allowance was stopped despite him suffering from HIV, hepatitis C, sciatica, severe depression, insomnia, and dental pain. The Nottinghamshire coroner, Miss Marion Casey, branded it as a crude assessment. She said, "I find the assessment process in Edward's case did not fully nor properly reflect Edward's physical and mental health at that time." So yeah, poor Edward, tough luck.
read out something.
Stephanie Bottrell, 53, died after being hit by a lorry on the M6 near her home. The family said she had been worried about how she would afford an extra £20 a week as a result of changes to her housing benefits. In a letter, she told her son not to blame himself for her death, but said she can't cope anymore. It's my life, the only people to blame are the government, she wrote. David Clutson, 59, a former soldier from Stevenage, was a diabetic who was found dead in his home after his benefits were slashed.